An absolute bombshell has just obliterated the Democrats' election schemes just in time for the November midterms. President Trump signed a landmark executive order aimed at cleaning up how mail-in ballots get administered through the U.S. Postal Service. It was actually brilliant. It was a textbook case of how to use the power of the federal government to enforce America First policies. Trump's executive order required the Postal Service itself to actually confirm the eligibility of a mail-in ballot before it even goes out the door. So, in other words, we're no longer at the mercy of corrupt blue state governors or legislators. Now the Postmaster General, a federal official, would be in charge of regulating who is actually eligible to get a mail-in ballot. And here's where the EO gets so freaking awesome. Any state that refused to comply with the Postmaster General's requirements to verify the eligibility of a mail-in ballot recipient would not get mail-in ballots at all. And Postmaster General Louis DeJoy quickly moved to implement that new order, refusing to deliver mail-in ballots to any state that refused to say who's actually eligible to receive them in federal elections. And predictably, the left lost their minds. They went the NAACP, which is just a far-left activist organization disguised as a civil rights group, they filed suit against the U.S. Postal Service and DeJoy. And true to form, their court shopping worked originally. A district judge in Boston, of course, an Obama appointee, of course, issued a sweeping decision blocking most of Trump's executive order, claiming the Constitution doesn't grant the president specific powers over elections. Yeah, but we control, the federal government controls the mail, doesn't it? Of course, Trump's DOJ appealed the decision, and the ruling from the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals has just come in, and it is an absolute bombshell. The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals issued a 2-page order, in effect striking down that lower court's injunction, ruling that the Postal Service is likely to ultimately win on appeal. Translation, the courts just told every blue state stonewalling this process that their legal argument doesn't hold water, and the rule can move forward right now while the underlying case continues. Bill Saley, the first assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California, called the ruling exactly what it is. Quote, "This is a huge win for election integrity with significant implications for states like California that refuse to submit their voter rolls to verify compliance with federal election laws." Now, think about what this actually means on the ground. States like California, where nearly every single voter automatically receives a ballot by mail, even those who don't live in California anymore, as we have eyewitness testimony for. They're staring down a system that's about to demand actual verification before those ballots can even be sent out, before they ever hit a mailbox. No more mass printing ballots for every name sitting on a bloated voter roll, whether that person still lives in the state or not, whether that person is a citizen or not, whether that person's even alive. This is the exact scenario Democrats have fought tooth and nail to avoid, that kind of accountability, because for years they built entire campaign infrastructures, ballot harvesting operations, NGO networks, community turnout machines around the assumption that millions of ballots would simply flood out into the world with minimal oversight. And the fact that the left is so outraged over the call for oversight is itself inherently suspicious, is it not?